bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Bring 'em Out with your hosts, Joel Richardson and Alan Hill.
This is Soul Joel inside the speakeasy for another episode of Bring 'em Out. Alan Hill, not here tonight, but we got our featured guest, one of my guys, Brendan Donegan. Thanks for joining me, man.
Hit him with the classic Soul Joel intro.
Yeah.
This is Soul Joel coming at you live. Is this video, by the way?
Yeah,
or am I just pointing it to
no.
okay,
Yeah, so we're
gotcha.
gonna go on YouTube and then
Nice.
on anywhere you can download your podcasts.
Hell yeah.
But dude, you well, we're gonna get into everything. But now like because I'm gonna ping pong all over the place. When you roasted me really well, and as you do every time you go on stage, but we had someone get engaged at Soul Joel's, and then we posted. Shout out to the Saint Joey St. John made the video, but then you're like, dude, Joel goes on stage. It goes only at Soul Joel's. You're like, someone just got engaged.
I think I saw the video footage maybe that Joey had posted at the time, but it's like a really beautiful thing. The guy just, you guys had coordinated beforehand, and he gets on one knee and he does it, and you have like this great footage, and you're kind of like just slightly in the corner of it, and you're like, only at Soul Joel's. Hit him with the promo on it, and I'm like, that's gonna be in their full engagement video,
dude.
So funny. And
Yeah.
like this guy's engagement video, Joel is like, I'm not gonna lose an opportunity to promote the club in this.
Yeah. I didn't lose a minute, dude. And here's the weird thing: we took over here October 31st of 2022, and that couple, after they got engaged, booked their wedding here.
Oh, really?
So they they got married here September, the month before I took over.
Wow.
So I was outside of the Dome. I think it was either Robert Kelly or Paul Verzi, and the wedding coordinator texted me like, could you come say congratulations to the
No
bride?
way.
They're like, they're the ones that got engaged at your club. They're like, you remember us? I go, you're the only you were the only people that got engaged
right.
at Soul Joel's.
Oh my God, they're gonna do everything at your club now. They're gonna have a kid here. They're gonna like, wow.
Dude, speaking of which, man, are you excited?
Yeah, couple of weeks at this point. This sucker's coming.
Are you
It's my other phone, my insulin phone.
Oh! I thought you had a baby beeper.
Yeah, not yet.
You hit me on the hip.
Yeah, got it holstered.
Are you seeking a lot of advice, or are you?
I'm getting a lot of unsolicited.
Yes. Okay.
So I haven't had to seek much out, but I don't know. I'm just kind of like the cliche that everybody says is, you're never going to be ready. I have kind of taken that.
Yeah.
Where I really do feel that way, where I'm like, I'm not going to be ready. I'm just kind of, I'm as ready as I can be. I'm just going to take it as it comes. Like,
right.
I don't really know what to expect, but I'm like, I don't know. I'll just figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
That's probably not the best plan.
Right.
And
we'll edit this in post.
Probably not gonna love hearing that. It's like, man, this guy did not seem to have any plan at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just at this point we're in this waiting game just for the baby to get here.
Yeah.
Like we got all the stuff. The nursery's set up.
The bags packed.
Bags packed.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bags packed. So now I'm just like, all right, well, like there's no like little to dos left to get done.
They're all done.
Yeah. So I'm like, at this point, I don't know. Like, I'm going to freak myself out too much if I keep
thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could just move on to other questions.
No, I don't mind talking about it. I'm just saying, like, I don't have, I'm not, like, so neurotic about what am I going to do. I'm just like, when the baby gets here, I got Sam, we'll figure it out. And
did you both want to find out, or was one of you kind of like.
We were both like, dude, let's do this.
Let's
figure it out.
Yeah.
I figure it was a surprise then. It's just like, you're going to just delay the surprise.
Right.
I don't know. I'm like, let's just fucking figure out what this baby's going to be.
Right.
So baby boy, yeah, pumped. That's what I know.
Names picked out?
Yeah, we're going to name him Jack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
You were like, I was going to go with Joel, but.
No. I didn't know Brendan Jr.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, or maybe I've named after your dad.
Yeah, so we're going to do my dad as
middle
the
name.
So
that's what I was
Jack
thinking.
Michael. And kind of the same my dad said to me and my brother Like, why didn't you name? You had no like Mike Jr. And he was like, I wanted to give you guys your own name,
Your own
So I'm like,
identity.
yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
offense to Joel Jr. over here.
No, dude. No. I make fun of my
Joel the
dad's.
second.
No, yeah. No.
Joel Richardson the third.
That's Joel Richardson the second is because it's my second Facebook. Yeah. No offense taken.
That's hilarious.
No, but here's the thing. My dad
Oh, yeah, 'cause
is
he's Joe.
my dad. My
Right.
dad is Joe, and then he wanted me to have the same initials,
Gotcha.
but not the same name.
Yeah.
Because he was tired of people calling up on the landline.
Right.
Growing up, going, "Oh, is Joe there? Joe Jr. or Joe Sr.?" I'm like, "So you named me Joel? Is
Just
Joe there?
close.
Did you say Joe or Joel?"
Right. It's
I mean,
close
how many
enough.
times have I told people that like they go like, "Hey, where do I get tickets to Soul Joe's?"
Yeah.
You
That does
don't.
happen to you all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Dude, they literally read my chest.
Yeah.
And they're like, so I go to souljoes.com. I'm like, I can't believe this is even happening.
Oh my god! I mean, the Brandon bullshit that I've
Oh
got
my
my
gosh.
entire life. It's unavoidable, and you're probably the same way. But after a certain point, you're like, I don't care. Call me whatever you want. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit. You
Yeah.
know? People that know me know it.
And
You know, I
well,
don't
dude,
care.
it happened earlier about the person that we said texted us. And
What were you talking about?
the gig coming
Oh
up.
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all good. And he was like, tell Brandon I said hello.
know.
And I'm like, yeah, I won't.
Dude, there was.
I don't want to.
I used to tell this on stage, but like a guy that I worked with for years, and like every day is Brandon, and I'm like, dude, my name is Brendan.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's the difference? And I'd be like, all right, Rashid. And he's like, it's Rashad. I'm like, exactly, dude. It's like this close.
Oh, so that's where that joke came
That's
from
where
on
it came
stage.
from, yeah.
Dude, out of like
My
yeah.
buddy Rashad, and he's like, dude, I'm off by one letter. I'm like, all right, Rashid. He's like, it's Rashad. I'm like, exactly.
Yeah. You're like, now you can understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, it's like, it's a completely different name.
So a lot of people, we always talk about bring them out and what brings people out. What brought you out and how this all started?
Yeah.
Valley Forge Casino, dingy basement.
Yeah, the OG days.
Yep,
man.
the OG days. You
Where
had
it all started.
two, one on each arm.
Two ladies. That's
Two
how
ladies.
If you want to get into a comedy club, bring two hot chicks with you.
Yeah.
Can I get 5 minutes?
Brandon, Brendan, who cares?
gives a shit?
You're on next Friday.
Yeah, this guy's in between two sets of tits. All right. Sure. That's how it started, dude. It was so actually, it was a St. Patty's Day show, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and which is coming up this Friday. But yeah, years ago. I mean, that had to have been 2017.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
when
I was gonna say
started.
6 years ago. Had to have been.
Yeah, it had to have been like 2017, and I remember Sam, my now wife, and our friend Parthena, who we worked with. They were like, we want to go to a comedy show. There's this comedy show around here, Valley Forge Casino, and they're like, we know that you like comedy. Like, let's just go. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't even really thinking, because I had tried stand-up in college once.
Okay.
And then I graduated, I started working, and I always like would be writing stuff and kept up with it. But I don't know.
Let's not brush over this, dude. Your valedictorian speech,
Yeah.
like you don't count that as a performance.
Right,
You
right.
crushed.
I've never performed for a bigger audience since, by the way. It was like 10,000 people. So I'm
Like,
just chasing that high.
Yeah, and if you we'll post the video. But did you get nervous doing that?
Oh, I was so nervous, dude. I thought I was going to puke because I was so hungover. Because they do like a thing.
Senior week.
Yeah, it was like
graduation,
senior week,
yeah.
and then the night before your entire family comes up because graduation's the next day.
And speaking of St. Patrick's Day, you got the big Irish Catholic family.
Irish Catholic.
I didn't
family.
know, but when I met your aunts and your mom, I didn't know who I was saying hello to.
Oh,
Like they all
people
look
still don't
identical.
know. They look like my mom's. 1 of 10. There's 6 girls. They all look exactly the same, but they all came up the night before. We got blacked out, and then I had to wake up, and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm about to give this speech.
You agreed to it. You're like, can't back out now.
Yeah, I'm like, why did
You're
I
in
do
the
this?
bulletin.
I don't know why I did it. Like,
Yeah.
because the way that it happened was you would just, like there was a handful of students that submitted for it. I submitted. I don't know why. I was just like, I think I can make this funny.
Right.
And then you had to write like a sample, and then people voted. So then I got it, and I'm like, oh my god, like now I got to do this shit. And luckily it went really well.
It did.
But it was like 10,000 people. I was
Right.
like shitting my pants.
Right.
But once I got it's like in stand up, that was my first lesson. Is I got that first laugh, and then you fucking ease into it, and you're like, whew.
Now you can breathe.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're being yourself, and you're comfortable up there, dude.
Bang bang.
I'm, like you hosting a fundraiser. All of a sudden, I'm doing crowd work.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the nuns to my left.
Oh, boy.
So that was the first time I did it, and then I graduated, and I just started working. But like I'd be like writing Like I'd wake up and like, you know, you think of jokes in the middle of the night. You're like, let me write this down. I was doing that, but like I had no intention of doing stand up. I don't know what I thought I was going to do with this stuff.
Right.
But then, so they convinced me like, let's go to this show. It's at Valley Forge Casino. I'm like, all right. And then I go to the show. I remember you hosting, and you were like, just so comfortable up there. Like you were just, because, you know, I didn't know how it worked at the time. It's like, your crowd, you were really just kind of going with whatever the crowd was giving you, doing crowd work, you know, leading it back into stuff. Chris Monty was the headliner. And then there's the famous story of you gave some kid a guest spot.
I didn't know if you were going to bring it up or not.
Yeah, which I don't think I've ever seen him since.
No, but he did. I remember he did text me about a month ago. I got to get back to
Oh,
him.
really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and then follow up Facebook message.
Yeah, well, so we won't give any more details because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to figure out who it is. But he wasn't good, and I remember thinking like, well, that kid can do it. Like I can.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
So I just went up to you afterward.
No, you went up to him.
Oh, I did. I talked to him. I was like, how'd you get into it? And he was like, I think he was like, I had only been doing it a couple months. He was like, you know, I just asked Joel. He gave me a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay. So then I talked to you, and I was with two hot chicks, and so we started hitting it off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you do an open mic? How do you get into this? And you were like, I'll give you 5 minutes. And I was like, really? And then you booked me on a show. It must have been like maybe like a month later. You're like, I'll put you on a show a month out. And I was like, oh my God. Like, and then I never stopped doing stand up ever since.
And you were working at King of Prussia.
Yeah.
So you must have brought like, who wasn't your friends and family? You brought out.
So that was my ticket in. Like people would always ask me when I'd be working at, you know, the club all the time. They'd be like, you know, how do I get in with Soul Joel? Or like, you know, how are you working with him so much and blah blah blah. But I'm like, when I first met Joel, you know, it was really like you were still doing all of your other shows, but it was like Valley Forge was like really.
Yeah.
You were doing so many shows there. And I was like, dude, I just would go to his shows all the time because we did that show, and then I would just come and hang out. Like,
yeah.
I would just come and hang out as you were doing shows and stuff, and we just became friends. But as then you would start putting me up, and I worked right by there, so I'd bring like 40 coworkers, and you'd be like, hey, dude, I'll give you like some extra money for all the people that you bring. So I was like, right off the bat, I'm making like good money on shows because you would compensate me for whoever I brought.
And I'm also like giving other people a shot. So I'm like, I might as well give a shot.
It was a win-win at the time for everybody because I'm getting stage time. I was bringing all these people to make for a better show. It was like an extra 40 people. I'm making a little bit of money. It's making you a little bit of money.
Yeah.
So it was great. And then we just kept going. And then you were like, hey, I have shows outside of Valley Forge. Can you host? And like I'd help, seat some people sometimes or bring some equipment. And then it just got me started. And then we just never stopped.
Then we opened up the comedy club.
Yeah.
You started the open mic on Monday nights. You and Dan would switch off.
Yeah. It was it's crazy like how much has happened since. I mean, like we're even jumping ahead there. It's like even between like we had all those offshoot shows, but then I can't even remember how it happened. You must have just told us one day like I'm opening up a club.
Wait. All right. So we have to we have to get to this because this is one of my favorites. And so two things. One, the reason why I gave you a shot too is Julian McCullough, who's the first guest on this pod.
Yeah. I love that. I've stayed in touch with him ever since. And
really?
Like, one of the first true headliners that I worked with, we did like the whole weekend. We're in Stone Harbor.
Yeah.
We did Valley Forge.
Yeah.
And Julian just talked to me like I was a comic for like I had been doing it for a long time.
Like
he didn't treat
one.
me like, let me tell you something, kid.
Yeah,
like, he was just so cool. And like I'll never forget that.
He told me, he goes, there's always room on every show for one bomb.
Yeah.
He goes, people will forget 5 minutes.
That's true.
He goes, don't do it twice.
Right.
So space it out. And I'm like, the worst that could happen is you go on stage and don't get any laughs.
That's true. And you would do that a lot. Like
bomb?
No. you give out one.
And Joel allowed that. He's such a good dude. He would bomb so that I wouldn't have to
take the spot. No, you would usually give a guest spot per show. Like you could always give somebody 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like at least one.
Yeah.
But you're right though. Like if you have two and it's back to back, all of a sudden the audience loses faith in the show.
They don't trust it.
Yeah. I've seen that happen. It actually just recently happened at a show where it was like it was like a showcase show and two back to back not so good.
Yeah.
And then it's just like it was hard to get them back. You're like,
right.
Fuck.
So you've experienced pre-show Joel. This is not the one that we're talking about right now.
Like, you mean before the show starts?
Yes.
Or, gotcha, yep.
Yeah, like full cylinders.
Yeah.
You're probably talking to me, but you realize I'm not there.
That's most of that's like 75%, Joel. And then
Okay.
there's a 25% where you go, dude, like, you're chilling right now. This is great. Like, you're relaxed.
Not often. 1 out of 4.
Because you're always working.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So all the comics are always messing with me.
Yeah.
Giannis and James Mattern, we had 2 shows at Valley Forge. They're texting me. They're like, dude, we're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna make it. And I'm like, they're like, we're gonna get there at like 9:30.
Because that would happen at Valley Forge all the time. People don't anticipate traffic. They're coming from New York.
Right. They're checking traffic at 12 o'clock midnight.
Yeah.
On
So you're
Thursday.
like, this could very well be true.
Very well be true.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm walking from my hotel room all the way to the lobby. I already made 3 different phone calls.
Yeah.
I got 2 guys on hold. Who's on the thing? I get to the lobby and they're like, they were in
so
the
fucked up and
Dude,
so funny. Like,
Yeah.
you love them to death once you see them, but you're like, why did you put me through that?
Dude, the stroke's coming.
Yeah.
The stroke's eventually going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Mild heart attack, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I end up setting up a show with Giannis
Mhm.
in your hometown.
That's right.
Yeah,
my
at
God.
the what's that
The
theater called?
Ritz.
The Ritz Theater.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna host. You're right. Giannis calls me up and goes, "Dude, I'm in
Well,
Hamilton."
so it was you, me, Christy, and Giannis at the time.
Oh.
Chris cancels last minute because he has like I think he had like a Netflix thing going on or like
Yeah.
some sort of special. So then you're like, well, no big deal. Giannis could just close out the show.
Yeah.
And then
That was History Hyenas. Yeah. And he goes, "Dude, I'm in Hamilton." Dude, and he would do that all the time. He'd be like, "Yo, I'm on the way to Uniontown, but somehow I'm in Connecticut." I
Right.
go, "Funny." I'm like, "You're just gonna name every place that I booked you." and this time he wasn't
He's like,
joking.
I know I usually fuck around, but
Yeah.
I'm really like 45 minutes
Yeah.
away.
And so somehow he just put that in his GPS.
Yeah.
So I tell you that I'm like, all right, I'll do 15.
But well, meanwhile,
So yes, go ahead.
this is a crowd of 90% my family.
Yeah.
This is not, and I'm not good yet. I'm probably like 6 months in.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't have.
You leaned
7
into your whole
minutes.
family, like
Yeah.
your cousins.
It's all my family.
Yeah.
So it's like, not only am I not that good, I'm probably gonna bomb, but I'm gonna do it in front of everybody I know.
And your grandmother, like you could literally see.
My grandmom's front and center, 90
center.
years old,
Yeah.
in the front row, in the middle of the theater.
Is that maybe the most nervous you've been?
Yeah, it's got to be. Because there were so many things on top of it. I'll let you finish from where you picked up from. But, like, with the family element, not being ready to do that much time.
Yeah.
The headliner being late, so you're like, you might have to stretch.
No, but then I dipped on the time.
Yeah, that
I
didn't
told you, I'm
help.
like, I'm going to do 15. And what did I go?
You
Like,
got off in 7.
No, I use your line all the time on a ton of comments. Like, stay close. I'm either going to do, in the great words of Brendan Donegan,
Right.
I'm either going to do 6 or 16.
Right.
If there's heat in the kitchen, I'm getting
He's out, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
intro, sure. Yeah.
So
that's exactly what happened.
I'm going to do either one. Yeah.
Well, and you were like, so I had I was like doing like 5-7 minute sets at the time, and Giannis like, dude, I'm like 45 minutes away, but like we had already been waiting, so we're like, we got to start the show. You're like, do you want to do 20? I'm like, dude, I can't do 20, and you go, forget about it, don't worry about it. I'll do 20. You do your thing. Giannis will be here. So you get off in 7. You go, how was that? I'm like, not long enough, dude.
Yeah. And you're like, also, don't have time to talk about it.
Yeah.
They're clapping for me
Like,
right
you just
now.
introduced me, and you're like, okay. So I'm like, all right. So then I get out there. I'm just like, I'm doing okay because my family, they're giving me the benefit of the doubt. But then you're in the back, like, stretched, dude. Like, and then luckily, like, eventually, I don't know how long I was up there. I had to have done at least like 15.
Yeah.
And then I see like Giannis like running in from the back.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're good. And I'm like, thank fucking God. Good night. I'll see y'all at
Dude,
home.
thank God I stopped drinking Red Bull.
Did you?
Yeah, oh yeah. I can't.
Well, you had a couple of years there where you're
Yeah.
still doing Angry Balls strong,
Yeah,
dude.
that's right.
Yeah, that must be recent.
Oh yeah, I can't, man.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
doesn't go well with your personality.
Too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you need a horse tranquilizer, not a Red Bull.
Oh God.
Yeah,
But dude, then fast forward to, and we're gonna go back in between. But Friday night, I had you open up for Ben Bailey
yeah,
with John Zaluga.
Yeah.
And Ben just wanted more time.
Yeah.
Because like I always get nervous of like comics that want to stretch and they don't want guys crushing ahead of them. So he goes, no, tell Brendan, do 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You told me. To do
And
a
I
little bit
came
more
out
time.
and you were like, dude, but you, like, it was almost 600 people.
Yeah, I mean, it was packed, dude. It was insane. It was almost impossible to have a bad set. It
Right.
it was packed to the gills. They were fired up. John had a great set before me. It was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Sound is great in there, man.
Yeah.
You
And
don't
it
even
was-
need a microphone in that.
And it's
in
like a
that.
homecoming for me, like when I come like back to the club, because it's like it's where I started. It's where I first started to learn how to feel comfortable.
Right.
Like not even necessarily here, but just like
At my shows.
at your shows, you know, because that's just like that's how I started.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you start doing shows in a club environment or like, you know, on the road or whatever, you feel comfortable there. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
that's just where I had the
And
most
Giannis
reps.
always says it like, I call it ninja training.
Yeah.
And so I put you in, whether it's a VFW
Oh my
hall, the
God.
Ritz Theater.
We've run through it, dude. I mean, we've talked about it before where it's like I have done the best shows of my life and the worst shows of my life all with you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You've done like everything from, I mean,
My pleasure.
God, dude. Yeah, like, you know,
The back of Lefty's Tavern.
back of Lefties, banquets where I'm bombing and then opening for Louis and Dave Attell. And
Yeah.
you're like, this is insane.
Well, dude, and this is one of the crazy things where I told this story with Buddy Harris, and
Yeah.
now I got to tell it with you. So I get a text message. I put the comedy festival, the first one,
Yeah.
Valley Fort,
Summerfest.
yeah, Summerfest, yeah, and I didn't even have a headliner, and I put the shows on sale.
Classic Joel move. I don't have anybody booked yet. I don't have a venue, actually. But let's just put up a flyer and we'll figure the rest out later.
Let's call the tickets at $20.
Yeah, talk about putting the cart before the horse, dude. He puts a show before before he has a comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's fingers crossed.
Yeah.
By the way, we're outside. Hope it doesn't rain.
Yeah, I'm like, God,
A
dude.
lot of factors.
Yeah. God,
So,
I'm so
that
upset.
morning, Dave Attell operates by a flip phone.
Yeah.
So I get a text. I'm at the King of Prussia mall with James Mattern,
Yeah.
and I get, hey, Joel, it's Dave A. Give me a call. And I'm like, dude, it's got to be Attell.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody else who would text me like this. I'm going to see him tonight. So I call him up and I go, hey, man. He goes, hey, really looking forward to the show tonight. Obviously, you know, I'm bringing Louis Katz. Louis helped me book Dave, so he's going to open. I have James Mattern hosting all the shows. He goes, and then, you know, the guest spot. And I was like, dude, I had like the Louis C.K. kind of like mentality. I go, who you bringing?
Yeah.
He goes, Joel, aren't you running a fucking festival? There's got to be 30 guys standing in the back.
I love that he does that, dude.
Dude, it's the greatest thing.
He does that notoriously, like everywhere he goes. Like he'll always give somebody a guest spot.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so cool.
It's a comic's comic.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have a guy like, you know, you throw me up on that, and all of a sudden I'm getting to work with one of arguably the greatest comic of all time.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's such a cool move for him where he's like, I'll let some of the new guys just come up, and he'll do that a lot of times where he'll bring somebody up and riff with them after the show. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, like you're giving somebody a moment of their lifetime.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's such a funny riff to watch it back and forth.
I
too.
remember too. We're at the show, and you know, it's the summer festival. We're outside. It's a really nice day that day, and you know, Dave's like, he gets there. He's just kind of like looking around. I think he was doing his thing where he drives around town a little bit just to collect material, like with whoever he was with, and then he starts asking like you and I questions about like, what's over there? Is it Spring City? Okay, what
Yeah.
are these people like? And he asked me, he's like, so you know the town pretty well? Or like, you do this a lot? I'm like, yeah, I'm here pretty decent. He's like, what's that over there? And I'm like, I don't know it that well. And he laughed, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta tell to laugh, dude. And yeah, he was so cool, just chatting up with me.
But he, you know, your dad had just passed, man.
Yeah, Attell.
It
Must have been after that. Yeah.
No. You said it was a month. It was a month after because it was August.
Yeah, because exactly. Because my dad passed in July. I couldn't remember because we did so many of the summer festival shows. I'm like,
yeah.
But
you had told me. So I called you up. I put you on the show and then Buddy Harris on the second show. Buddy came to hang anyway.
yeah.
But you were like just manifesting and thinking about it.
Yeah,
And the
dude.
phone rang.
There's so many weird moments like that where, You know, it's so interesting. You start comedy, and you start like everybody starts different. You start a different place, like different trajectories for everybody, and it's like you start doing like the worst gigs. You're at open mics, you're in the back, you're waiting to fucking go up. Everybody sucks. You're like, this sucks. I got work tomorrow. I'm up. They won't put me up till fucking 1 a.m. I'm like, this is like, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. And then like you just keep doing it, and all of a sudden you're in this other place. And you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah, I don't see what's the blueprint.
Yeah, there really is none. Like, you know, everybody says it all the time, but it's just so wild if you hang in there to see where it might go. And like obviously such a good example of that, where all the shows that you used to do where you start and, 7 venues later.
Oh my gosh, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But Attell, the first thing he said to you was, hey Brendan, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, he goes, thanks for doing it. I go, yeah, not a problem, dude. Sure. I'll move some stuff around.
Yeah.
Like he'll say stuff like that, and you're like, the most humble guy in the world. Like,
Yeah.
What? I don't even know. I'm like, are you joking right now, or
Yeah.
are you really that unaware of how cool this is for somebody like me?
Oh, he's aware, but then he also is so cool where he hands me candy,
Yeah.
and it just happens to be like Halloween coming up.
Yeah.
But he goes, this is for the staff, and make sure they get it,
Yeah.
and make sure they know it's for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm about to eat all the candy.
He's
Face
like,
on.
Joel, don't you dare.
Don't you dare.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've just we've bounced around from so many spots, like to the opening of the first club in Royersford. Like, you start that up, call us all up. You're like, I'm thinking about doing this thing, and that I feel like that happened so quickly.
Oh no, I left Valley Forge the last week in September, and we started. I had a month. It was and the first show was November 1st.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
actually all those memories come up.
yeah,
Where it's like you, me, and Richie, and
Right.
doing all these different shows. And
yeah, got it. Like just all the different steps, like of just all over the place. But yeah, starting at that club. And that took off pretty quickly. It was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like, Dan and I doing the open mic on Tuesday. And, short-lived because of the pandemic. But,
dude, but right before it shut down, I got you booked on Turdy Works on True
which
TV.
is still the only credit that I use.
Oh, my God.
Like when I go up.
Yeah.
I go, people go, what do you want me to say? I go, True TV. And they go, what show? I go, not important.
I'll do the
True
questions.
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what was that like? You went up to Maine, and you taped.
Oh my God, dude, it was insane. Like, so you classic, Joel opportunity just called me out of the blue. You go, dude, I don't know who this is. I got a call from somebody out of the blue. I don't know how they got my information, but they need 3 comics for this True TV thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is it? You go, I don't really know, dude, but they're sending me over and I'm like, yeah, like obviously I'll do it. So it's me, Richie, Melissa Diaz,
Yeah.
and they send us up to Maine to do this thing for the show
Which
called,
again sounds made up.
and like we had already, because it was so last minute, like I think we all had shows. I think Richie and Melissa had shows in New York. I think I was up in North Jersey. So we you were like, dude, you gotta drive. We can't risk with flights, getting there because it was so short notice.
And you forget that flying up there like in the middle of snow.
And it was February.
Right.
So we got to drive. And we're taking my Corolla, my 2013 Corolla with one hubcap left. And so it's me, Richie, Melissa, driving from North Jersey all the way to Maine in the middle of February. It takes us for
Oh, you did drive together.
we all drove together. And freezing, like it probably took us, I can't remember, maybe like 10 hours or something. We drive like through the night, and then we're filming the next morning, or the next night. So we got a little bit of time to sleep, but then we had to get there early for call time and all this stuff. Emma Willman was actually hosting the whole thing.
It was like her show, or
She's
helped.
from the area, so I think they booked her thinking maybe that'll help, because everybody from her hometown knows her, obviously, and
She helped produce it and write it.
Yeah, and they were doing the finale episode where they're trying to save this local theater, and they were putting together like a variety show to raise money. So we get to this old theater. It's actually pretty nice, but it's like all these people from like the tiniest town in Maine who've definitely never seen stand-up comedy before. They have like musical acts in between. So Emma gets up, she's hosting. They have like this local kid he just started a band like recently. It's called Big D and the Ticks or something, and then they had some, and so he gets up. I remember they're filming all of this live, and right before he's about to go, like they had Emma go up and host, then they had maybe Melissa do her set, and or maybe it was Richie, and then they have this young girl who plays the piano, and she's like a singer-songwriter. She gets up there, piano's like not working, like, so she's getting embarrassed and like she's kind of bombing, so they just kind of like shuffle her off, and then Melissa goes up, and then Big D and the Ticks, this kid, so they go up to him and they go, "You're next." He goes, "No, I'm not doing it." Or no, I'm sorry. He performs the one song, and then they go, "Listen, we didn't get the crowd reaction we wanted. We need you to go back out. Just run it one more time."
But again, like, is this like, is he kidding, or like he's being?
No, he's like, he's not. He's never been on TV before. He's just a local kid from Maine. He like just started playing music.
Doesn't understand how it works.
Yeah, and they go, "You got to go out and play it again." He goes, "No, I'm not doing it. You guys said once, I'm not doing it." And the producer's like, he's like, "What are you talking about? Get your ass out there. It's a live show." And they're like fighting back and forth. They finally get him out there. You know, he does well. And then I got to follow. And for some reason, they have me closing out the show.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm like, all right. So, like, the first thing I said when I get out there, I was like, "Hey, give it up for Big D and the Ticks." If I was in a band, it would be called Small D, No Chicks. And it gets, like, a huge laugh.
Really?
Yeah, and I start murdering, dude. Like, I'm, like, destroying. Like, and
Unexpectedly.
unexpectedly and, like, probably undeservedly. I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but these people are feeling me right now. And I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm in the pocket. I'm Joel at a fundraiser. I'm like, I'm bobbing and weaving. And that was that. It was crazy. And then we closed up the show, and we drive back, to from Maine to Jersey. The next day.
No hotel room. No.
We stayed overnight when we got down there, and then as soon as the show ended, we were like, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
Oh, okay,
So we just drove like right from there because we didn't want to stay any longer, and yeah, we all got back, and then they aired it, and they showed a little, a couple of clips of all of our stand-up.
It was like 6 months later too, right?
Yeah,
Or something.
it was a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole show, by the way, is about some lady who collects moose turds for a living, and she's like, really does that, and she went viral on like Tosh.0, and then so she actually officially closed out the show, and she got up after
Wait, the
me.
show went viral because of Tosh Point.
She went viral because Tosh like found her stuff.
Oh.
It's like there's a woman that makes
And
products
that's what
out of
caused
moose turds.
the show.
The
to
show.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
Exactly. And then she was doing like some stand up, so Emma Willman was like teaching her how to incorporate it into her act. And she got up at the end and she did like poop jokes that was murdering, just destroying.
Lowbrow open mic.
Like, dude, everybody from Maine was like, "This is," I don't know what these guys were doing with the stand up bullshit.
Yeah.
But these poo poo jokes, this is the ticket, dude.
And she crushed.
She crushed. And me, Richie, and Melissa were like, "What the fuck are we doing with our lives?
Yeah.
Dude? Let's get out of here."
Yeah, let's get out of here now.
Yeah. And that was that. It was insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing we're talking about off air, you always keep the phone open because you never know what I'm going to call and what the opportunity is going to be.
You never know. Yeah. I mean, like, you don't know if it could be opening up for Dave Attell, or you're like, "Listen, there is a church fundraiser. There's 7 people there."
Yep, it's in Riverton.
Yeah, exactly. I need you to bring speakers.
But it ended up being where Joe List was coming every time.
Right.
And ended up bringing Louis 4 of the times.
Yeah.
And he wanted a local host because
Yeah.
normally he would bring someone.
Yeah.
And it was James Matter.
Yeah.
But this time he goes, "No, just bring someone." So I was like, "All right, well, I know."
It was amazing. And that was another one. Like, the crowd had kind of got a sense that Louis was coming, so it was completely sold out
Yeah.
in the dome. And it was like one of the hottest crowds I've ever done. It was insane. And like for a host set, it was like already on fire.
Yeah.
So it was like everybody.
They were
was just
jazzed
killing.
up.
I think it was me, I think Jordan Jensen, Matt Wayne, Joe, and Louis, and everybody just
And
murdered.
Isabel Hagen.
She might have been on a different night than like
Oh.
a different Joe List and French night than I
Okay,
was
okay,
on.
okay.
Because they did a couple.
And you remember the night.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you.
Yeah. but yeah, everybody was just killing. And like, the best like if you ever want to kind of hear about just like those times, like Joe and Mark Norman talking about it on Tuesdays with Stories about like It was such a moment in time when we were doing those shows outside when nothing else was going on, and they would talk about, we would go down to Soul Joel's, everybody get in the car, Louis would drive, we'd get ice cream afterward. Like, they really encapsulated it perfectly.
Yeah.
And they just talk about, like, how wild those times were.
Well, and the ice cream place, like you talk about, like how what a tell, and like that was the best night that someone's getting up there and talking
Yeah.
about, but it's no big deal to him.
Right.
But that ice cream place, dude, they would talk about it so much.
Constantly, yeah.
They
They're like
constantly-
more jacked up about that than the show.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll do the show, but we're getting ice cream after.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, if you want to check it out too, the documentary we made is obviously a great encapsulation of like
Yeah.
just what we were doing during
It's
2020.
Every time I open up Soul Joel TV, because all these are on that
Yeah.
YouTube, Joey has it to where it's pin marked.
Yeah.
So I hear myself going, and then you're like, "Are you ready?"
Dude, I remember at that time I was like, let's document this because we're never going to forget that. And like that is I haven't looked back on it in a while, but like that is something that is going to be such a fun thing to look back on and have like just up on YouTube where every year you should go back and revisit that and be like, man, well, that was such a wild time that we're never going to have again.
No.
And like for better, for worse, like hopefully not, obviously,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
of the
yeah.
pandemic, but also it was a great time in its own way.
Well, and KC Canal Aurora makes fun of me because I'm always like, "Dude, let's document this."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Dude, what is up with you with documentaries?" I go, "Well, I'm going through it. I want to get some footage, man."
And you never know where you'll wind up, so it's like it is cool to have that to look back on
Yeah.
because you might be somewhere completely different.
But I asked you to do it. You did it. Your idea, and I was like, "Yeah." No prior experience.
No.
No editing experience.
I didn't even have a camera. I was like, I'll buy a camera. And Joel was like, yeah, you want to shoot it? And I'm like, okay. I didn't know. And obviously it's not like the most highly produced thing, but I kind of like that. It's like a very, I don't know, independently
Yeah.
raw footage that we shot thing that we did.
And we even did a premiere
Yeah.
at the club, but then we did one in Stone Harbor.
Yeah.
And we had people come out, man.
It was cool. And you made it into like a thing. You were like, we'll do a viewing of it and like we'll sell some tickets and we'll show it
Yeah.
as like a little movie, and like we did it at a movie theater, and all
Right.
just started from the idea of like, hey, let's document some of this.
Because people don't understand too that like they see me at a show and they're like they think that like that's my life, where I'm like
Right.
I just show up to work. I'm like, no. It took a lot of work to get these comedians here,
Right.
to get this audience here.
It's one of the most overlooked things of like how hard it is to produce a good comedy show, because to your point, like it seems like you just show up and you grab the mic and then it's just fun from there.
Yeah.
But like everything from the speakers to the lighting to getting tickets sold, like it's such a pain in the
To get
dick,
people to
dude.
even leave their house now. Everyone's a DVR.
Exactly.
They probably paused this show 10 times.
Yeah, and like the little things like how to structure the show, where it's like if you have a guest spot, great, but don't do if you have two risky comedians back to back that bomb,
Right.
and then how that can deflate the
The
rest
chemistry.
of the show.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like
It's a
all
formula.
these things. Like if you really do it right, it makes for an amazing show that gets overlooked. Like people don't understand. It seems like a simple thing, but it's
But you did a
It's a
good
lot.
job of, you either asked the right questions or you edit it really well. But like talking to the comics, and then moving my sister in and out of it, then like Dan and Joey,
yeah,
you, myself, but then like talking to like the one that pops out in my mind is Anthony DeVito,
yeah.
and you're like, what is Joel's dad lives in China? You're like, I wouldn't be surprised if Joel started.
Right, if he started the coronavirus just for his own benefit.
Yeah, you're like, Joel's been pandemic training for 15 years.
Yeah.
There's no one that was in the comedy business that was more ready.
That's what everybody said. They were like, nobody was more ready for like the apocalypse of comedy
Yeah.
than Joel, the guy with two speakers in the back of his truck at all times, just
Yeah.
ready to do a pop up on some grass.
Too stubborn to quit.
Yeah. That was so cool. Like I got to interview a ton of comics for that you set up, where it's like, I got to talk to Norman and Joe List and Mike Vecchione and Anthony DeVito, and they all have similar stories of just like, we've done some horrible, crazy gigs with Joel, but it's like you don't ever forget them. Like,
Yeah.
And a lot of those in the beginning of like the Summerfest and stuff, when you were figuring it out, when there was no stage and it was just in the field, like, Vecchione's, classically out there as it starts lightning and he's just on the box. Like I was interviewing him about that, he's like, he can't help but laugh. He's like, it's so insane, but then he started riffing and having a good time. And
Well, it was your documentary that I realized how it all came together, where like one of our biggest fans, Barb, her and Laura Lee. And I said, everybody always talks about your biggest fan, but no one ever talks about your smallest fans. She's 4'9".
yeah.
She's taking her picture with Chris Roach, who's 6'7".
I remember Laura.
Yeah. But Barb, because it starts raining and heat lightning, and Vecchione goes, Joey, and he looked at my face like, don't you dare get off the stage. But and he goes, okay, I guess we're still going. She starts heading for the car, but she's just like walking, and Justin Silver is Facebooking live. Like he's taping the video.
I know the
Dude,
exact video you're talking about.
And Joe List was like, yeah, I'm watching this on Instagram going, this looks like a terrible setup for comedy. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, List almost didn't come.
Right.
Like, I can't.
Well, in his defense, it was a terrible setup at the time, but then you just keep going.
No,
and
it absolutely was.
And then you eventually
But I'm like,
figure it out.
that would have changed the whole trajectory of everything we just talked about.
Right.
I'm like, List completely set the wheels in motion for that festival with the first night that he was there, and then kept talking about it everywhere.
That was such a huge thing at the time, was all the comics talking about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Like they just kept talking about like, what are you doing? And like they all had that story to talk about because nobody was going anywhere else. You couldn't perform anywhere else, and everyone was like, have you done Soul Joel's yet? And then everyone had their own story from it, and then all of a sudden everyone's talking about it, and it just wound up becoming this like wild time.
Yeah.
Like it was wild, dude. Like talk about the wild, wild west of comedy. Like 2020 was insane.
Yeah.
Just outside, it was crazy.
2021 comes around. Kevin Nealon comes to town, and
The best.
normally he has Jay Black, which I found out after I booked him. Which,
I didn't realize that.
yeah. Well, I didn't realize either. That's why I got him.
Yeah.
Because Jay Black was like, you got to do Joel's.
Yeah.
And Kevin was like, all right. So we have him Thursday night at Rivers, Friday and Saturday at Soul Joel's. I get, because he can't open, I get you and Buddy.
Yeah.
And we're at Rivers.
Right.
And Buddy's hosting and you're featuring, and then you guys are going to flip the order the next day because your family was coming out.
Yeah.
And when I tell this to Kevin, Kevin's like, "Oh, great! Am I hosting tomorrow?"
Yeah,
Like it was just like such a cool hang.
He was so, and like Kevin coincidentally is one of my favorite comics of all time.
Yeah.
So like to get to do a whole weekend with him was so cool, dude. And he's just like everybody says, the most laid back, humble guy. He's just so cool. He's like sitting there doing sketches. He's like an amazing sketch artist.
Which you see on his Instagram, and you're like, I don't realize like how often you're like, oh, it's something he posts every once in a while. But like, no, that's.
It's so cool to see somebody like him to get up there and murder in like the most laid back way I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's not like he's a high energy guy that comes out, kicks the door open, and is like, "What's up, motherfucker?" It's like he just gets up there and he's so subtle and sarcastic and just goofy. I'm like, dude, like he's incredible. I think he's I don't want to say overlooked because obviously I think so many people know like he's.
But
a comedy
he
legend.
no. I always say this. It's the guys in New York that are known for comedy that also act.
Right.
But he's one of those guys that's from L.A. that's known for acting, but he's a murderer on stage.
Yeah,
and people don't realize that.
Yeah, like people don't. Like I think people know that he does stand up, but I don't think he gets talked about enough in like the
in those
categories of, like,
circles.
who's some of the best? I'm like, I love Kevin Nealon. Like I always will throw, and people are like, oh, it's not usually one that you hear, but I'm
Your
like,
answer, yeah,
he's amazing,
dude. But he also did the thing where we talked about, like Attell and a couple other comics do, where he localizes stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't even realize it's coming because he does the misdirection.
Oh yeah.
He goes, people always ask me how I got on SNL. I massaged it, getting on Lorne Michaels, much like how I ended up here at Soul Joel's. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're a dick.
Yeah.
I go, but that was very funny.
But it's a genius move. Like
a genius
he
move.
does in like such a subtly funny way where and all of a sudden the crowd wakes up. They're like, oh my God. 'Cause it feels like he's in touch with where he's at.
Right.
Yeah.
But it freaking murdered.
Yeah. My God.
Yeah.
That was such a cool weekend.
Yeah.
He was the man.
You got your own podcast now, man?
South Jersey Bad Boys.
South Dirty Bad Boys.
Yeah, getting it going.
Do it, Dan Callahan.
Me and Danny Boy, we do it once a week, and it's fun. We just kind of shoot the shit. We go over news articles and stuff, and it's good.
No one's focusing on the South Jersey, so you guys got that.
Yeah, we're trying to
the niche.
Yeah, we're trying to build out like a niche little scene in there, just so we have more stage time and stuff like that. And there's just not a lot of people that, like, I think there's a ton of people that don't feel like crossing the bridge and going over to Philly to see comedy. So we're like, if we can just like not have to leave our couch and like build up a fan base from doing the pod and like, getting people to listen to us. You see people do it and you're like, why can't we just do our own pod and, see what happens? So so we're doing the pod, doing shows as much as I can up until this brief hiatus that I'll have to take with the baby. And then I go up to New York usually like once a week.
But you're gonna get you're gonna get a ton of material.
Oh yeah, my favorite stuff that I'm doing right now, I have like 5 new minutes on just the pregnancy itself. The baby hasn't even come yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I saw you do it
Yeah.
when you opened for Ben Bailey.
Yeah, it's like my newest, freshest stuff, and I'm like, thank God I have something to talk about. It's like I finally have something of substance to talk about.
Yeah.
It actually is a real thing. People, so many people come up to me now after the show, and they're like, "Are you really having a baby?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not making that up."
No,
Like,
you're not making that up.
Right.
I mean, you've did that at every stage. Like, I think you even got something off your sister's wedding. There's a new joke about that, or something.
Just weddings in general. Like
Wedding-
I
oh,
talk
maybe-
about weddings in general. Or yeah, like I'll go like I'm saving up for a wedding right now, not my own, but I'm going to one that's cost me a fortune. But yeah, people are like, "Are you really getting married?" and blah blah blah, and so you get that all the time.
You're like,
Which I guess makes sense. Certain things you do obviously exaggerate, but I'm like, yeah, no, I am having a baby.
you're like, that's not
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Well, also, the first half of my set is talking about how I look young and like very self-deprecating and stuff, and all of a sudden now I'm like, I'm also having a baby. And people are
Right.
like, what the fuck?
Right. They're just all thrown off.
Yeah. So it's been good. I finally have some good stuff I'm excited to talk about, and it's helped me write so much new material. And
The moment that I noticed that you kind of changed was, and you might not even remember it, but for me, is when we were in Westchester. It was you, me, Dan Sherman,
yeah,
and Tim Crompier.
yeah,
And you went up there. We were in a museum.
Yeah.
Again, it was a fundraiser, so we got hired. So I didn't scout the venue.
yeah,
They sold all the tickets. Unbelievably hot crowd.
yeah,
But it was like a fundraiser crowd, so skewed older.
Right.
They were there to support the cause.
yeah,
And you kind of just went up there where you're like, this is what I do.
yeah,
And you had a bunch of riffing stuff, making fun of the museum.
yeah.
And I forgot a couple of, because this is why I don't steal jokes. I forgot what you said about, but you riffed. Like maybe like Ghost or Haunted House or something, but like, and you probably got a bunch of clips out of it.
I did. I got like a bunch of clips out of it that got good views and stuff. But yeah, it was like just make fun of the fact that it was like a Friday night in the museum. And I'm like, oh, it's weird. There's not more young people here and stuff. But I have these pockets where like I will start to find that I get this level of comfortability where there's times where I could really riff and like be in the moment, and like that's where I do feel like I'm at my best. Although I don't love riffing a lot, like because I want to hone my material, make it so strong. But
that's the moment where I noticed that it was.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that you that when something went wrong or it was the couple that was making out in the front.
Yeah.
And you went off on that. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, thank God you taped it, because
Right.
your material was crushing.
Yeah.
But then the couple was just
Well,
nonstop making out in the front row.
He had his hand like right between her legs. And he goes, "We're just friends." I'm like, that looks a little bit more than friends, dude. You got your hand full, your elbow deep in this girl's vagina right
Yeah,
now.
I'm fiddle faddle. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, there's these moments where it's just comfortability, where it's like I'm just finding like, more comfortability up there, where I think if I could start talking to the audience, not even necessarily riffing, but just getting myself like in the present moment, it helps me deliver my material better.
Yeah.
So there's times where you find that and you're like, dude, I am cooking right now. And then other times, like I bombed the other night so hard, and it was like with jokes that are tried and true,
Right.
but I just like wasn't in it. And I'm like, I don't know. Like sometimes it just happens.
You felt like you were checked out, so you kind of expected not to do well.
Yeah, like there's just times where you feel like you're just not connected with the audience for whatever reason, and there's sometimes where you're so comfortable and you're weaving in and out, and you feel that connection where you're like, dude, like I got them, and you know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, when I got to talk to Barry Katz for that like one competition thing I did, he said something that was really interesting that I haven't forgotten. And actually, I just recently won it again. I
Did you
submitted
really?
Again. Yeah, so I won it for February. So I'm going to talk to him again soon. But
Quiet brag.
yeah, a little
Under the radar.
yeah. But he was like, when you kill in the room, like harder than every other person in the room, any other comic, like by far, you separate yourself 10 times in a row, you're on your way. And I realized that as you're doing shows, you can, like, I'll have moments of that where I have a really, really strong set, but I'm like, somebody else also was equally as strong or had a better set, or maybe I'll do it once, but then I have a couple of other shows that are just okay, and I'm like, man, he's on to something. Like that, there is something to that. 10 times in a row where you separate yourself to stand out amongst everybody else. I can see what he's talking about there.
Right.
And it sounds simple, but it's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, there's another thing that we talked about too, that you've done is the sketches.
Yeah.
And the sketches are really funny. We started that over the pandemic.
Yeah.
Where you did the young priest.
Yeah. People still talk about that.
Still talk about that. That was so funny. We filmed
shot at a funeral home.
real funeral home.
People
Yeah.
are like, where did you guys shoot that? I was like, Joel had a connection with the lady who owned a funeral home.
Yeah. It was the cousin of the girl I was dating at the time.
Yeah. It worked out. We just staged it to look like a church.
Yeah.
There's dead bodies in there.
No,
I'm joking.
a few people slid into my DMs. They're like, "What funeral home was that?" Because we could tell.
Well,
Yeah.
then you also put it in all of these Christian groups on Facebook that people were getting so pissed, but that it kept getting more views because of it. So Joel's like, "We're going viral, baby. I'm gonna keep putting it in all these Christian groups on Facebook," and people were getting
They were not happy.
people were getting pissed. Dude.
Yeah, they were.
commenting all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They were-
They're
were-
like,
well,
this guy's
'cause-
the devil.
yeah. You're sitting there talking about cocaine and
Yeah.
playing ping pong, beer pong.
Yeah, I was playing beer pong with the chalices,
Yeah,
and yeah, believe it or not, the Catholics did not all love it.
yeah. Especially in the bread basket.
Yeah, yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah, but yeah, we started doing those sketches, and I just like doing different stuff like that from time to time, just to kind of stretch and just get creative.
Yeah.
You know.
They did one with your all your buddies for, the Connors. You had a bunch of Connors in the same room.
Yeah.
But what was that? It was
it was
your guys from your hometown.
The spoof on Queer Eye. We
Yeah,
called it. I think it was Straight. It was basically like
I feel bad that I don't remember the title now that you
I don't
can't.
remember it either. I can't.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember, the spoof
The
name.
concept was that take the show Queer Eye, where they have these gay guys who come in and they fix up these people's lives, and it's like this amazing, inspiring story. If you had straight guys doing the same job, it would be a disaster.
Right.
Because they'd be a mess. They give horrible advice.
Right.
So
Well,
that's what we did.
The guy who hosted it, like, had like a rager the night before, and you're like, you're like, perfect. Don't clean up anything.
Yeah, my buddy
He
Stretch.
goes, no problem.
Yeah, he like wakes up. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be there at 9 a.m. I'm knocking on his door for like 30 minutes, and then he opens the door like, "What's your problem?" I'm like, "You're late, dude. I'm here. Like, I've been out here for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like I'm the asshole."
Yeah, you're like, we're about to film. A lot of
Yeah.
people are coming here. I gotta have everything.
Yeah, people don't get how annoying it is to schedule stuff. Obviously, you do. you
Yeah,
know.
I get it.
So, but yeah, like still trying to do some sketches here and there whenever I have time. It's just it's so tough to coordinate that stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, dude, this was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brendan Donegan. Follow him on all social media, and once he comes out of hiatus, we'll be booking him on a lot of shows coming up. For Brendan Donegan, I'm Soul Joel. Thanks so much. See you
Thanks.
soon.
Peace.